Hello, this is Nanami. Today I like to talk about self-acceptance. I personally struggle with this area for quite a long time. Well, if I hate myself, then I hate myself. There's no room for self-acceptance. So in this video, I'd like to share from my experience how I overcame this problem and explain how life takes a turn for the better just by accepting who you are. We hear the common advice, focus on your positive sides. So in the past, what I was first doing was I was writing down my strengths and capabilities in this physical world. I was trying to disregard, ignore, and forget the negative aspects of myself. I was also trying to accept myself with my logical mind. I was verbally affirming and persuading myself that I am worthy. But on the other hand, some people advise you to accept even the negative aspects of yourself. But I just did not know how in the world I could do that either, because they don't really tell you any practical methods for embracing what you hate about yourself. Well, later I found out that accepting yourself isn't about accepting yourself because you're better than other people in a particular area in life, nor does it necessarily mean loving the ugly aspects of yourself. In fact, what I began to understand was that all you need to do for self-acceptance is to objectively acknowledge that you have negative feelings and thoughts residing inside you. So if you're doing all these similar things that I used to do and is currently stuck, this video might offer you insights for your self-acceptance. So I'd like to share one way of how I approach this, and I will try to explain this in 3 steps. But first of all, I want to remind you that the very basic of all this is to focus inward on yourself, not the external world, and to respect your feelings. This will be absolutely crucial in self-acceptance. Realize that the only person in this vast universe who is able to experience and value your feelings is you. As I talked in one of my past videos, those feelings and sensations are electrical signals that have been generated in you and only in you. You may want to appreciate them because all of them can only be experienced by you. Don't expect somebody else to comprehend and manage your electrical signals. To be honest, and it may sound cruel, but you're currently not able to accept yourself because you've been living without truly valuing your own feelings. Well, if you think about it, in the real world, when somebody shows understanding towards your feelings, don't you feel accepted by that person? You want to be doing the same thing towards your feelings. So from here, remember to intentionally put a spotlight on yourself, especially on your feelings. So for the sake of this video, let's say that you are a student and you happen to be the lowest performing pupil in your class. I chose a student as an example here because I know everybody has gone through the experience of being a student, so I thought you could relate to this story in some way or another. Well, how can you accept yourself amidst getting low grades on your tests, classmates laughing at you, and your teachers rolling their eyes? Is it even possible to accept yourself despite your academic inadequacy? Well, now that I know how to accept myself, I can absolutely say, yes, you can. So let's use our imagination and let's say that you are made up of numerous numbers of little you. Each of these fragments of you has a distinct personality. One may have the demeanor of kindness, another may have an identity of embarrassment, yet another may be anxious and another resentful, and so on. There are so many of them that they are all cluttered and jumbled together that you can't distinguish one from another. And each one of them is like a little kid wanting attention from their mommy. They want to be recognized. In other words, they want their existence to be acknowledged and accepted by you. Well, obviously, each one of them are all indeed subdivided aspects of yourself. So if you don't know who's who, you don't know who you really are. But once you give each one of them your precious attention and identify them independently from one another, they will calm down and will begin to behave appropriately. And you will start to understand more profoundly who you really are. So you are an underperforming student. You're not doing well at school. You hate yourself for not being smart enough, and people are laughing at you. So step 1 for self-acceptance. Identify your core feeling. How do you feel when you see people laughing at you? Be true to yourself when you look at your feelings. Don't mislead yourself in interpreting your true feelings, and don't change or manipulate them into something different or something you think you should be feeling. Just look at your feelings just the way they are. And although you may feel frustration and resentment towards other people, or you may want to turn away from the situation altogether, point the arrow inwards towards your heart and be really true to yourself to find the genuine feeling that naturally surfaces from within you, especially the very vulnerable ones. Those vulnerable ones are usually the ones that you have been unconsciously avoiding all along and are actually the important ones that will open the door to self-acceptance. So although you may have feelings towards the outer world, focus only on yourself instead and ask your body how it's feeling to catch that message that your body is trying to convey to you. Well, maybe you may not want to admit it, but let's say you experienced a profound sense of sadness. You felt sad seeing yourself being bullied. You felt sad for not being able to meet your own expectations, and so on. So you discovered a little you in charge of sadness. Here, understand that she is currently in the act in this situation because you have been ignoring her for such a long time that now what she is doing is actually screaming for your attention and is wanting you to be aware of her existence. So once you've identified your feeling, let's go to step 2, which is to locate where that little me is in your body and isolate her from everything else. What I would do here is close my eyes and use my sensations to detect where she is in my body. For me, most of the time my little me's would be around my chest. I would feel a tight grip squeezing my heart. Around the heart, I would then see with my inner eye or the third eye a little me crouching on the floor at the corner of a dark room, crying. Then I would erase everything from existence except that little sad me. I would erase my physical body and erase my thoughts, my current 3D situation, my name, my identity, my past, present, and future, and anything else that is in my awareness. I would immerse myself in the now moment where everything is still and quiet, so that all that remains is that sad little me. Because I erased everything else, I would be able to focus on her and intentionally make time for her so that she knows I care about her. I would feel her presence and I would objectively realize, oh, a part of me is crying. So I will just say to her, "You're sad." Note that it's important to not put any words of excuses or encouragement to your feelings and situation. That little you doesn't need any of that. She just wants to be found by you. All you need to do is to look at her in isolation from all the other factors going on in your life and look at her in the eyes. And finally, step 3, I will feel through her emotions. meaning I will feel that tight grip around my heart until it evaporates. Here, it's important to let your body react how it wants to and that your body be sad. Feel all your physical cells vibrating with sadness. Don't stop that electrical signal with your logical mind or by tightening your muscles. Let your body have the chance to experience that pain and perhaps experience it with exaggeration, which will make this work even more effective. Don't be afraid of it. Allow your body to be sad without you denying it or stopping it. So that's it. I just accepted myself. I accepted that little me. So step 1, identify your core feeling. Step 2, locate where that feeling is in your body and isolate it from everything else. And step 3, feel through that emotion. This only takes about 15 to 20 seconds for me, but these 15 to 20 seconds can be life-changing. You may not realize much difference at that very moment, but I usually feel liberated after a night's sleep. I feel like a totally different person when I wake up in the morning, so I'm sure you will notice a profound difference in yourself too. Previously, I advised you to go find that core feeling. Well, pinpointing that core feeling would be the most effective since in doing so, all the subordinate feelings can dissolve simultaneously. It would be the best to untangle what's inside you, but most of the time, you don't even know what to untangle. So if you can't find that core feeling, then confront all the feelings that arise within you. In this particular situation where you are an underperforming student, there will probably be other different little yous in play, such as the ones in charge of shame, despair, and so on. Find all of them and repeat the work I just explained in this video. For instance, if you felt hatred toward yourself, then go find that little you who is hating herself and allow her to hate herself. If there is another little you who is hating that other little you who is hating herself, then allow her to hate that other little you. That is totally fine. Welcome every bit of you without judgment. To tell you the truth, finding that core feeling can be quite difficult. It's difficult because you're scared of facing it. It's your fear that is unconsciously hindering yourself to go deep within you. Perhaps you're afraid to admit that you're sad. Maybe you're not able to accept the weak aspect of yourself. Maybe you're fearing that you won't be able to sustain yourself once you find it. You may be resisting change, or perhaps you didn't even know that that feeling existed in you in the first place. This resistance to examining your core feeling is all done unconsciously, making it difficult to determine whether you have truly identified them. But sometimes you will know you have found it when you realize tears automatically coming out of your eyes. And basically, if you're thinking that the outer world is the problem, then you can see that as yourself trying to deceive yourself from looking at your own vulnerable parts. Humans in general tend to avoid confronting their vulnerable aspects. So as an unconscious solution to this, we put ourselves in a victim mode where we can go down the seemingly easier path of blaming the outer world for all the things that are going wrong. Well, perhaps this is because of our ego's resistance to accepting our own weaknesses. There are so many beliefs stuck to us, making us think we have to be significant and we have to be doing a good job in life. So, what will happen if you begin to accept the vulnerable aspects of yourself? In this case of you being an underperforming student, surprisingly, people may no longer make fun of you, or even if they did, you probably will no longer be swayed by it. They may even disappear from your reality. You may no longer feel agitated by your academic inadequacy. Perhaps you may discover effective study strategies and begin to study more confidently. or you may get out of your own way of making academic progress. Alternatively, you may decide to follow a different path that may suit you more. What will happen will differ depending on that person, but things will definitely start to make sense to you, and you will have more energy to pursue your own path. But keep in mind that it's not that there will be no more negative emotions. As long as we are human beings, we will go through challenges, and every time you try to overcome them, the emotions that we have not yet acknowledged will come up to the surface for us to realize and accept them. This is a big part of spiritual awakening, where situations will occur in which we will be required to expand our awareness. Here, negative emotions serve as indicators of areas that demand attention and growth, so we might as well appreciate our negative emotions for guiding us toward our evolution. In the spiritual world, there's often an emphasis on focusing on the positives. Yes, I think that's important, but I find it absolutely impossible to do that without first confronting my negatives. What I think is the most effective way of going about our spiritual evolution is to first accept the ugly side of ourselves. Once you've accepted your seemingly negative sides, then soon you will have no choice but to look at your positives. And that will be way easier than forcing yourself to look only at your positives, despite the negatives screaming for your attention in reality via negative events. If you accept more and more of your negatives, life will become easier and more beautiful. Your self-concept will improve, people will treat you more lovingly, and you will begin to notice more synchronicities happening around you, since you will no longer be busy looking for proofs of your inadequacy. By that time, the people who were laughing at you will have disappeared from your reality, and new people and opportunities will come to you. Before you know it, you will be radiating more energy and love, and people will be attracted to you despite your academic inadequacy. So, to summarize my message, self-acceptance is about recognizing your feelings and showing respect to them. It's about objectively acknowledging your negative emotions and letting them be there. If you notice repeated problems coming up in your world, that's a sign that you have not accepted a certain part of yourself. If you become aware of the existences of each of your feelings and fully experience each one of them, reality will no longer make you experience the exact same feelings again via similar negative situations. So when you find yourself feeling negative emotions, go look for that little you who is crying somewhere in your body and put a spotlight on her so that she becomes the main character for the time being. Feel her presence and feel through her emotions to acknowledge that she is there. You want to use only your sensations to find all of that little you. Don't use your logical mind, or don't pretend not to see her. Look at her in her eyes to indicate that you finally found her. Let her be there, and in a short while, she will disappear with satisfaction. Confronting that very sensitive and vulnerable aspect of yourself may at first be frightening, but as you come to recognize that that is also a genuine part of you, you will find yourself feeling more precious about yourself. Always focus on yourself and value your feelings. For self-acceptance, all you need to do is search for the little bits and pieces of you, or in other words, discover the hidden authentic aspects of yourself. Go find more of you, then you will be able to expand your awareness toward yourself and the world that you live in. You will begin to see the world from a totally new perspective, where you will truly realize that your world is all about you and only you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. See you next time. Bye!